trouble.
Hey, everybody. Innocent J.B. Wadia says, sir, you look humble. I look humble. This is a sign of humility. Some people say humbleness, which technically speaking, you can say humbleness, but I prefer humility. Hi, guys. How are you? A very good evening to all of you. Once again, David Daniels says, Shiny Papa. Hello, David Daniels. Guys, please tell me in the comments below if you can hear me. Tell me, go ahead, throw it up there. Say to me, Mr. Mwewa, we can hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear, Joseph. Joseph, what's that? Bando says loud and clear. That's what we want to hear. I love seeing that. I love seeing that you're loud. I'm loud and clear, and you can, they tell you in the vlogging space, and any YouTuber knows this. They tell you that the most important component of communicating on the internet, if you are a vlogger, is your sound. If your sound is off, it doesn't matter if your picture's crystal clear. If your sound is off, people are going to switch off, jump off. They won't tune in. But if your sound is good and your picture is not so good, they will stick around you a bit longer. So I'm very pleased to hear that you can hear me. How was your day, guys? My day was fantastic, and I'll explain why. But first of all, I need to explain to you, earlier today, incidentally, we don't have power at Simoson building. We haven't had power for 4 days, 4 consecutive days. Count them on my fingers. 4 days we haven't had power. I've just received the phone call not too long ago telling me that Zesco are about to switch on the power at Simoson. I'm not going to hold my breath, though. Let's just put it that way. All righty. So let me read a couple of your comments here. A couple of things we need to talk about. Exact Ruz is joining us from Benghazi. Benghazi? Where is Benghazi? Isn't Benghazi in Iraq? Isn't that Iraq? Benghazi? Tell me if I'm wrong. Please let me know in the comments below if I've completely messed that up. There's a guy on here. His name is Ing Zach Ruz. And he says he's watching us from Benghazi. Amazing. Well, welcome, Mr. Ruz. A good evening to you. Real M. Zambian. Good evening. Watching from Mansalwapula. That's where I'm from. That's where my father's from. That's my old stomping ground. Mansalwapula. Mueba kwasu. Mueba kwasu. All right. Welcome. Moses Mwangelwa. Moses Mwangelwa says I can hear you loud and clear, can even see your likeness. I think you're talking about my skin complexion. Brother, there is nothing light about my skin complexion. Trust me. It's just lighting. I'm not brown. I am black. Not that I'm complaining, because I'm proud of my blackness. I love my blackness. Anyone that has met me will tell you I'm as black as midnight, and I love it. No, make no apologies about that. Just waiting for a couple of more of you to jump on. I just wanted to give you guys my opinion on who I think will be the next president of the Patriotic Front, and what that possibly means for us as a people and as a country, and what it also means for the political topography of Zambia. I just wanted to touch on this very quickly. Hey guys, how are you? I'm on live now, so you shouldn't be here. Okay, so just give me 10 minutes. I'll be with you momentarily. Okay, here we go. Libya. Benghazi is not in Iraq, it's in Libya. Amazing. Muammar Gaddafi's old stomping ground. May his soul rest in peace. Lloyd says Miles Sampa. Miles Sampa is my very good friend. Oh, you're saying the next president of the PF will be Miles Sampa. Is that what you're saying? Okay, I see what you're saying there. I'm going to give you. Somebody says you're brown. No, I'm not brown. I'm not brown. I'm as black as midnight, brothers. And this is one proud black man. And I'm proud of my complexion. I'm not brown. This is lighting. What you if I appear brown, it's because of the lighting. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, you need to go. You need to go that way. Hello, I wish you. He said, just give me a moment, guys. Just give me a moment. Oh, by the way, I have to explain to you. Um, there's no power at the office. So before I go home, I came through. This is my childhood home, incidentally. This is Manchinchi Gardens. This is where I grew up. I grew up from here. I grew up here from the time I was about 12, 11, 12. This is when we first moved here. Yeah. So we've all moved out, though. I mean, it's just my mother that lives here and a few of her people, but that's where I am. Okay, just in case you're wondering where I am. All right. Somebody, Helen Zulu says you're chocolate. Yes, I like that. Dark chocolate, though. Dark, not the brown chocolate. Dark chocolate. Okay. Now remember, guys, before I get into it, remember I have to give you this bit of information. Remember, tomorrow is the deadline for submissions. You see there, I should have put submission. What? Submission of the deadline for submission of Simon Wewer Lane market applications. November the 10th is the deadline. If you're interested in applying for a shop at Simon Wewer Market, the application fee for a shop is 250 kwacha for a shop, which is on the first floor, because there's the ground floor and then there's the first floor. Okay, but if you're interested in getting a stand, it's 100 kwacha, which is at the ground level there. Originally, and I said this yesterday, and I think it's very important for me to repeat this. Originally, the ground floor was designed to be a car park space. That was the original plan of the market. When it was first built, the idea was to cater for parking. Because as you know, the parking in the CBD, in the Central Business District here in Lusaka, is an absolute nightmare. It's a mess. A mess, I tell you. It's crazy. So that was the original plan. But then Lusaka City Council, in its wisdom and its vaunted knowledge, decided to scrap that. And instead of a car park, instead of the ground floor being a car park, it is now an area that's been reserved for stands, to sell vegetables and all kinds of stuff. That's where the council's going with that. Okay? So make sure that you apply. Tomorrow's the last day. And the idea The idea is to get rid of this thing called street vending. We don't need street vending. Street vending in Zambia simply doesn't work. It is not possible to have a clean street, a clean CBD with street vendors. It is not possible to have free flowing traffic in the CBD with street vendors. Street vendors are the number one cause of this, of the number one source of filth within the CBD. I'm not a politician, so I can say this. I can afford to say this because I'm not a politician. I'm not running for office. I'm not running for MP or councillor or some type of public official position. I'm a community organizer. So because I'm a community organizer, which is this is that's at the bottom of the food chain, in case you're wondering, because I don't want you guys to get it twisted. A community organizer is at the bottom of the food chain. That's me. Okay, so I'm not running for office, so I can afford to say what I'm saying to you. It's not possible to have a clean street, a clean CBD with street vendors. Why do you think they build markets? Why do you think governments erect these huge, humongous edifices that we call markets? Why do you think they build them? Do you honestly think that they build them for us to just stare at? No. They build them so that our people can occupy them and operate from within the markets. What time is it? It's 6:30. I got 15 minutes before you guys rush off and go watch the news. Okay? All right. So I just wanted to throw that in there just to make sure that you guys go apply. All right. Very quickly, I just wanted to give you my opinion on who I think the new president of the Patriotic Front is going to be. As you know, the Patriotic Front is the political party that has just exited Zambia's political sphere in terms of the presidency. The last president of the Patriotic Front was President Edgar Lungu. They recently lost this election. And really, truly speaking, of course, we can say this now. At the time, we couldn't say it because it was risky. I mean, there's so many things that we're doing now that we couldn't do during the Patriotic Front's iron rule of tyranny. There, I said it. That's what it is. That's what it was. It was an iron rule of tyranny. There were things that we couldn't say during the Patriotic Front, me included. I had so much to lose if I went against the Patriotic Front, if I went against that party. There were so many things that would have gone wrong. And that's the way that party operated, is that if you spoke against them, if you said anything out of turn, if you had a divergent view, they would land and fall on you like a ton of bricks. I mean, look at GBM, for goodness sake. Look at what they did to GBM. When GBM joined the UPND and GBM was running all over this country talking about the putrid nature of the Patriotic Front, look at what they did to him. They ruined him. A man that built an empire from his sweat, from the sweat of his brow, was being victimized, was being harangued, was being harassed for having a divergent view, for being opposed to the PF regime. And because he spoke against the PF regime, they made it their business to ensure that he was crushed and incapacitated. Look at what they did to Fred Membe. Look at what the Patriotic Front did to the Post newspaper. Look at what they did to Prime TV. I charge the Patriotic Front. I charge them with being the most brutal regime that this nation has ever had. I charge them with being the most destructive regime that this nation has ever had. I charge the PF with being the most barbaric regime that this nation has ever had. There is no place that that party went that it didn't bring destruction and heartache and pain and chaos. Now, of course, you could argue, that well, there are a few things that the Patriotic Front did right. Sure there was. But overwhelmingly, they did more damage than good. Are you hearing that? Are you catching that? So here it is. The Patriotic Front destroyed countless political opponents because that is the modus operandi of a tyrannical totalitarian state. You must know this. Whenever you have a regime, a totalitarian, oppressive regime, their number one goal is to silence the opposition by any means necessary. And they did it. They did it to Vakambwili. They did it to GBM. They did it to the Post newspaper. They did it to Prime TV. They did it to so many Zambians that run across this nation and call themselves patriot. They did it because of their self-aggrandizement and at the expense of our nation as a democracy. So now here it is. The Zambian people spoke in unison. And really, the truth is, and this is what I was going to say earlier, the truth is, President Edgar Lungu was running for a third term. That's what he was doing. But at the time, you couldn't say that because you risked being jailed. Let me tell you something that Linda Kasonde said, you know, and it was so profound. It was amazing. Just amazingly profound. You know, they had tried to legally stop Edgar Lungu from running for a third term. They tried to do this. It didn't work because the PF had infiltrated everything. Okay. Linda Kasonde came on television, and because Linda Kasonde is such a brilliant lawyer, I mean, I've had the privilege of sitting with Linda Kasonde. And you know, when you talk to that lady, you know instantly that you are in the presence of a learned lawyer, an officer of the court. Linda Kasonde, after they tried to get President Edgar Lungu legally not to stand for third term, Linda Kasonde came out and said, "We've done all we can. We haven't succeeded. Now it is up to the Zambian people." Do you know what? Do you know that Linda Kasonde was speaking to us, was speaking to you, was speaking to the Zambian electorate, was speaking to the young UNZA student and the young Cavendish University student and the young chap that's trying to put together a living in Chihuahua. Linda Kasonde was saying in code, CODE. She was speaking to the Zambian people in code. She said, we haven't succeeded in stopping this man from running for a third term. But, oh, and I love the word but, B-U-T. B-U-T is a conjunctive clause, brother. Whenever you hear someone say but, it changes everything. Linda Kasonde said, but now it is up to the Zambian people to decide. And what Linda Kasonde was saying in that short coded message was, Zambia, when election day comes, you better kick these boys to the curb. When election day comes, you better walk up to the ballot box and knock them upside the head with a 2x4. When election day comes, you as a people, the true custodians of this thing called democracy, your job is to walk up to the Patriotic Front and smack them upside the head with a Democratic billy club. Oh, don't mess around, boy. Don't mess around. That's what Linda Kasonde did. And guess what? The Zambian people on the 12th of August, from all across this nation, from east to west, north to south, woke up early in the morning and they said, oh, it's going to be different. And the Patriotic Front were so arrogant. They were so vociferous. They did everything within their power to manipulate the vote. So much so that they even hired some bogus operation over there at UNZA that declared them a winner through a fictitious opinion poll. That's how desperate they were. But the Zambian people said, no, 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 no. We said, we're not going to have it. We're not going to do it. And the Zambian people spoke in unison, and they removed, unceremoniously so, they removed the PF from office. And when the PF were removed, they simply couldn't believe it. I'll never forget Vagiven Luwinda, whom I respect, and I must say I love. He's a wonderful man. Vagiven Luwinda, I'll never forget Vagiven Luwinda saying, we'll be back here and we'll declare. This is how confident we are. I'll come back here and I'll say, Banyala, Banyala. That is how confident the PF were. But it wasn't to be so. I'll never forget President Lungu on the campaign trail. I don't know where he was. And, politicians being who they are, he was on this campaign trail and he was speaking to a group of people at a rally. And he kept on talking about how HH was a consistent failure. That how many times, this was President Edgar Lungu saying, how many times have I beaten this guy? I've defeated him several times. He's lost his bid to become president a multiplicity of multitudinous times. This guy, HH, is a reject. The Zambian people have consistently, ababa click of thieves, vashimia internet, vashimia. Vashimia, vachita shimix, vashimia. Just when I was going to make a point, vachita shimix, vashimia. Kuyokwena imwe click of thieves, katuishinga mwapangwa shani. Umunenu ali in the middle of a very strong point. Imo mwaisa mwafi patankanya. Ati yo mwe wa mushimieni. The same way you zimia dizikta ba zikta ba shimishe internet on election day. This is what you are trying to do here. Mulefwaya. Your Chanda says we can hear you there. Okay. All right. Let me continue talking. Yeah. So, President Lungu kept on talking about how, this guy's failed so many times. But this time was different. 2021 was a different year with a different outlook, a different attitude. The Zambian people walked over to the ballot box and said, oh, no, no, no. It's not going to be business as usual. We're not going to do it the way we've been doing it. We are going to change things and in unison. And they did. The Zambian people did it convincingly. It wasn't 887 didn't win by a nose, as they say in the Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby. Ever heard of the Kentucky Derby? The horses, the thoroughbreds, the people that race horses. There's certain races where the horse literally wins by a nose. Just the way the horse stretches his neck and the nose slightly goes ahead of the other opponent. Oh no, honey. Zambia 887 didn't win by a nose. He won by 1 million votes. Votes that Bowman Lusambo calls insignificant. Bowman Lusamba said, oh, what's 1 million votes? Well, those are the votes that put him up over the top. Okay? So I said all of that to say we've come from that type of background in history. And now here it is, the Patriotic Front are in opposition. And again, it's important for us to understand that it is important to have an opposition. Zambia is a democratic country. We are not a totalitarian state. We're not, okay? We sort of entertain divergent views, even though the Patriotic Front didn't. Okay, we are in a new political dispensation. This is real politics, or real politics, if you will. So now the PF have found themselves in the uncomfortable position of being opposition leaders. Okay, they are the leaders of the opposition, and now the PF are going into a new sphere of leadership. They're going to be grappling for a new president. And let me tell you, it's not going to be pretty. I mean, on the outside, you think it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I mean, those guys are going to kill each other. Okay? Now, of course, what's happened now is that you have certain players that have put their names forward, certain players that are saying, I'm going to be the new Patriotic Front president. Let's begin with Bachishimbakambuidi. Okay? And incidentally, do you guys remember? I've got a little factoid to share with you. Do you remember at Vasata's was it memorial service? There was a young PF guy, a very muscular guy, that